This is a cat that hangs around the neighborhood. I don't know what the cat's name is. I don't know who owns the cat, but it just comes around sometimes, and we've seen it for years. We don't know who the owner is. We just know that this is one of those local neighborhood cats that you see. And when I saw this cat sitting on my neighbor's it's like a little brick pillar. It's a fence post, or it's kind of an ornamental fence post. There's some beams attached to it, but it doesn't really fence in the whole yard. It's just sort of sitting there in the middle of the yard. Anyway, I saw this cat sitting on this post, and everything kind of lined up for a really interesting shot, or at least a good shot. I don't know if this is interesting at all. So the cat's sitting there, and I ran back inside, grabbed my D500, my 70-200 lens, and I wanted it to stay there so I could get its picture. This cat is kind of skittish around people. We usually don't get too close to it because it just runs away. But I figured I could get a decent shot of it if it would just hold still for a little bit. So sure enough, I came back and the cat was still sitting there, but it was really kind of curious as far as what was this thing, this giant camera lens that was pointed in its direction. And I didn't spend too long getting this shot because I didn't want to scare the poor thing, but I was really hoping to get an interesting picture of this cat. I actually got two poses of this cat, one that you see here and another one that was more straight on, that had a more interesting background. There were some flowers in the background, but you didn't get a sense of the full picture of the cat because it was more straight on. So you saw like the head and the paws, but you didn't see the rest of the body of the cat. And I like how intense this cat's eyes are. It's looking straight at the camera, and the eyes are completely sharp. And because I was shooting, I think, all the way at 200 millimeters, you have the rest of the cat's body, which is just subtly out of focus, even though it's just a few inches behind it. It's that depth of field when you're shooting with the 70-200 millimeter lens at f2.8 at 200 millimeters can create this really nice fall-off effect where you have the eyes or whatever you choose to focus on your subject. Those are in focus, and then the foreground, the background is not. I like that there's kind of a monochromatic color scheme here, except for the leaves sticking up in the top right, which are green, which I could have photoshopped out, but I just left them. It just felt like too much to remove those leaves. They were there, so might as well just leave them in the picture. But I like that this is against a gray fence, and the fence is maybe 15 feet behind it, but it's nice and blurry. And it really does focus your attention right on those eyes. I think if those tree leaves weren't there, it would be even more impactful, but those tree leaves actually add kind of a sense of context where you get that this cat's hanging out beneath some tree branches. So it's kind of, it kind of makes sense. Like it wouldn't, I don't know, if this pillar were just sitting there in the middle of the yard with nothing over it, maybe the cat wouldn't have ran up there. I think it also helped the light to be nice and diffused to be beneath this tree. Anyway, I don't often post pictures of animals because, I don't know, I just don't take pictures of animals as much. So it was kind of fun to take this picture.